Guys, what is going on? It is TJ, and we are entering week 12 of the NFL season. This is a special slate and special week because obviously tomorrow is the most glorious of holidays. It is Thanksgiving tomorrow. It is every fat ass's favorite holiday, every meathead's favorite holiday. It's football all day, turkey, family, food, pies. Just an amazing day. Can't wait for it. Uh, Draftkings offers an amazing day of tournaments. There is the $20 $1.5 million Wishbone Classic, which is 150K to first. They also got the Mini Wishbone Classic, which is 50K to first. And then they got, some smaller stuff, the 200K post pattern $8 buy-in. This is one of my favorites, the 200K $33 buy-in 3-entry max. And there's also a smaller 3-entry max as well. I think maybe a $3 or $5. But that being said, just super stoked on tomorrow. It's always a fun day, a lot of money up for grabs, and get to spend it with friends and family and tell them why you're staring at your phone all day, being a degenerate while also trying to maintain some sort of conversations and acting like you're involved in the party. So we kick off the day with Minnesota at Detroit at 9:30 a.m. on the West Coast. That is 12:30 on the East Coast. We have the Chargers going to Dallas. That is at 1:30 on the West Coast, 4:30 on the East Coast. And then wrapping up this glorious day, we have the New York Football Giants at Washington Redskins at 5:30 on the West Coast, and a very late and tired 8:30 on the East Coast. So we will be going through my favorite core GPP plays of the day. It is a 3-game slate, so I'm sure you guys are familiar with playing these smaller slates. You have to definitely differentiate your lineups from the rest of the field. We know who the popular guys are going to be, and we know who the least popular guys are going to be. Everybody will be fairly high owned. It's always nice on these shorter game slates to have a guy at like 7% just go nuts. I remember last year I had, I think it was like Allen or something on Indianapolis who had like 3 touchdowns, and he was like 1% owned on a short slate, and it was awesome. So let's see if we can find that play here for you. These are more core plays, so I think these guys will all be solidly owned. You won't catch any guys under 15 or 20%, but these should be some solid core GP plays, and I will tell you why. So without further ado, let's just kick it off. We got Kirk Cousins. This is in the hammer spot, so this is the last game of the day. Kirk is 7,100. If we go back to his game log, I really like his chances here to throw for 300 plus yards. Went for 327 versus Minnesota, which is a very difficult defense, and 322 versus New Orleans, which is another difficult defense. Also had 3 touchdowns last week, good for 28.98 points. So that and the fact that Fat Rob and Chris Thompson are both on the IR really decimated backfield. So they are down to just Samaje Perine. I like Kirk Cousins' chances to hit 303 touchdowns greater than any other quarterback on the slate. I think he's his safest option to do so. I think he'll carry probably the highest ownership on the day. I think Phillip Rivers will probably be decently owned as well. Keenum should be too. So we'll see. But I really like Kirk Cousins' chance to get that 300 bonus and 3 touchdowns. So we will be rolling him out. The next play of the day is Melvin Gordon, 8,100. Not a surprising play here, but has had a really slow last 4 weeks. Been battling turf toe. Last week, got a lot of rushing attempts, 20 for 80 with a touchdown, but they just smashed Nathan Peterman. Defense had a couple of touchdown recoveries, so didn't have to rely on him much. Could kind of get on Austin Eckler and let him take a little bit of the second half snaps and take some weight off, and try to get Melvin Gordon right. So if you look at his last 4 games, 5-4, 23-9 solid, 9.2 and 14. And with Keenan Allen having a massive day, I'm hoping that people will kind of try to go towards Keenan Allen, and maybe we could kind of find Melvin Gordon go off, get a couple catches, and have one of those 2 touchdown days, good for like 35, 40 points. That will definitely give you a leg up on the field. The next one here is Stefon Diggs. Stefon Diggs, one of my favorite players in the NFL right now. He too been hobbled a little bit by injury. Just hasn't been peppered with the targets that he's used to seeing. I mean, still not bad. 4, 6, 5, and 6 in his last four. 7.2, 17.8, 6.6, and 1.4. All while Adam Thielen is just eating up a ton of targets. We do see that Steph Diggs has a high ceiling. He went off last year, won a bunch of people some money in a game last year. I forget what it was. This year versus Tampa Bay, 11 targets, 8 catches for 173 and 2 touchdowns. So we know it's in him. He definitely got hobbled by injury here in these midweeks. It looks like he's just getting back to health. So I think people will definitely be chasing Thielen's points from last week. If we go back to his game log, he's just been getting crushed with targets. 12, 10, 12, and 9. Just beast moding. 9.1, that was bad. But 20, 33, and 27. So people are definitely onto Adam Thielen's secret. Guys just getting peppered with targets. So I think we can catch Stefon Diggs here a little bit lower. If he goes off and has one of those big 2-touchdown type days, that's another spot where you completely leverage yourself versus Thielen owners. I'm sure people will definitely have Thielen and Diggs in the same lineup as well. I know I probably will. So, but we'll see if we can get Diggs here, 10 or 20% lower than Thielen. Next guy up is Josh Johnson. Josh Johnson is 4,700. I'm going to pair him up with Kirk Cousins. Like I said before, they're decimated with injuries in the backfield. So I like Dotson. He's emerging. 2016 first-round draft pick out of TCU. He was an absolute beast in college. Getting more targets as the year goes on, 3, 5, 7, and 7. We saw him make a great touchdown catch versus Dallas a couple weeks ago. So I like what I'm seeing out of this guy. This is a really nice pivot off of Vernon Davis. It's no secret that the Giants are terrible versus tight ends. Draftkings is priced up Vernon Davis at 5,500. So I think he will carry a higher ownership out of those two plays. So I think we get exposure to Kirk Cousins, and we could pair him up with Dotson. If Dotson does end up going off and Vernon Davis bricks, we find ourselves in a nice little spot here. So we will gamble here with Josh Dotson, see what happens. Also, on the other end of Kirk Cousins, he also has Jamison Crowder getting peppered with targets as well. If you look at his last four, 6, 13, 11, and 8. So I think he will also be higher on the Dotson. So really like this spot to kind of, differentiate your Washington Redskins stack, and kind of, I think we can find Dotson in that like 30, 35% ownership category, which on a short slate is not bad at all. And then wrapping up my GPP plays is Evan Engram, my favorite new Giant addition. Love this guy, young, vocal leader. Puts it out on the field every weekend. Looked like Casey stopped him last week. Shepard was a late scratch, so Casey was able to zone in on Engram. Still got 6 targets, only 1 catch, so not efficient, only for 9 yards. So it was a complete bust, so maybe people will be on the recency bias train. If you look at his last targets, so 12, 10, 9, and 6. Even if Shep is a scratch in this game, which at this moment looks like he will be with some migraine issues, even the fact that they could zone in on him, Josh Norman and these guys, I like Evan Ingram's mismatch. He's a really big guy, so even if he gets 9, 10 targets, if he could get 6 catches for 60 yards and a TD, we'll be happy. And if Vernon Davis bricks here and we get Dotson to do something, we'll be in a really nice spot. All right, so that wraps up my favorite GPP plays for the Thanksgiving 3-game slate. I'm looking forward to the holiday tomorrow. I hope you guys are too. Just watching and spending these games with family and friends, and just hope these plays come through, run good, win us some money, maybe a GPP. So good luck tomorrow, guys, and have a great Thanksgiving.